Come on in. This is the farm plot for this year. Last year we farmed back there, welcome to Party Farm. Today we're going to harvest some potatoes. Unfortunately, it rained last night, so all my good hard work might be moot. But I think it didn't rain enough for us to have a total loss harvest. In fact, if you look down by Apollo there, I've harvested a few potatoes already from this line. And I didn't really expect a giant harvest from this because I planted leftover potatoes from the other property and I did them a little bit late and I kind of forgot to hill them. So it's going to be what it is. But I'll show you how I dig them on a garden scale. At the other farm, I will use like a BCS with a root digger. Or on a farm I used to work at, we would use a tractor with a root lifter for potatoes. Or, oh, no, that was carrots. We would use we called it the doorbuster. I don't know, but it's like a little plow sort of shaped thing that you run through and the potatoes just kind of pop out. So like if I was at a bigger scale, that would be awesome. But I'm here in the small plot, and so I'm just going to use a fork. And I decided to let the stalks dry back. That lets me know where I planted the potatoes so I can use the fork wisely. And just like I would carrots or leeks or anything with a fork, try to give the plant a little bit of breadth so that when I lift up on it, I don't puncture the potatoes, especially because I have such a small harvest. To use the fork, I'm a couple inches away from where I think it is, and I'm going to just kind of start pushing down with using my body weight to push the fork down. There's kind of like a flat ledge on the tip. That's like the same with the shovel. And lift up. I try not to lift the soil more than like 45 degrees, mostly just for my body's sake and ergonomics. And I think these ended up being a little far out to the pathway, so I'm gonna lift in here and give it a little pull. And then now I'm just gonna go in with my hands. Someone I worked with once called it badger hands. And so as I come through with badger hands, I will see if I can find any potatoes. And there's a couple more. Oh, some over here. Wow, maybe I'm wrong. This one didn't go toward the pathway at all. And if you grow potatoes on a home scale, you can do it in a garden like this and in soil like this. Or if you don't want to deal with this harvest mess here, you could grow them in pots and then just like overturn them when it's ready to harvest. Really easy to protect in the rain too. If you can't get to your harvest, you can just bring the pots inside. So I'm kind of giving as much breadth as I did on this side, loosening the soil to see if I find any more potatoes. I really want to find them all because potatoes always win the garden. And so if I leave potatoes in the ground, not only will they definitely sprout and be weeds the next year, but they'll continue to allow potato related like pests and disease to inoculate, or not inoculate, that's a good word, but to contaminate the soil. So if I want to use crop rotation, I would try to give a couple years between potatoes, but if I'm growing potato weeds in between those years, then I'm not really giving it a rest. So I guess that's another reason to use pots. But I'm just going to be really thorough. And then these are like a beautiful purple potato. And if I have a big crop that I'm not just going to use today, then I will take them inside. And depending on what I did with the plants, like if I let them die back, or if I cut off the water, like did I let them cure in the soil, basically, which I did. And you can tell because when I rub them, the skin doesn't come off. If they're not cured, the skin would come off with some gentle rubbing. You definitely want to do this in a dry weather because you can get the potatoes a little bit cleaner with just like a rub. But I'm not going to wash them because they're more likely to rot if I do, and I will If I haven't cured them, store them in like a flat, dry place without any touching, and allow the skins to thicken for a few days. I think 2 weeks actually. But these got cured in the ground, so now I'm just gonna hopefully set them out to dry so I can get a little bit more soil off of and put them in a cool, dark place.